Now, Chris Cillizza, NewsNation contributor, senior advisor of the DGA Group, Julian Epstein, Democratic strategist, attorney, former chief counsel for the House Judiciary Committee. Gents, good to see you both on a Friday night. Hey, Chris, right now, who is defining the field of battle?
I actually think, and I don't mean to do both sides of it, but I actually think it is a little bit of a toss-up the way that you outlined it, because I've seen both of those storylines in the last 48 hours, the Kristi Noem stuff and the kind of like, why are all these guys in masks and heavily armed and that kind of thing. I thought J.D. Vance going there was smart, just to, you're never really going to go wrong if you make it. The question is this about a fairness issue of, are they rounding up people who don't really deserve it or may not deserve it, or are they law enforcement taking criminals off the streets, right? The first one is obviously politically a loser for Republicans, and the second one I think is a winner, which is why last week, we've talked about this, but last week I thought, net, it was probably good for Republicans politically, because the image that sticks in people's head, I think, is cars burning, even though it was one night, but cars burning, looting, people throwing stuff at cops. That to me is not like an immigration thing, really. That's a, well, we need to restore order.
But Julian, how do Democrats get away from appearing to attack ICE, which keeps happening because they say that ICE agents wearing masks are the problem? ICE agents are being targeted by gangs and other people and their families. That's why they're wearing masks. But how do Democrats appear to be on the side of 80% of Americans that want criminals deported, but that are saying almost what President Trump is saying, which is, people who are working on farms or working in restaurants, we don't want to end the U.S. economy?
That is the existential question of the decade so far for Democrats. The larger existential question is, do you want to side with the activist groups, or do you want to side with a common sense center? And right now, the Democrats are siding with the activist groups. The images we see coming out of L.A., the burning cars, the fireworks being shot at police officers, the bricks being thrown off of bridges onto law enforcement. Has this made a dent on Trump's advantage on immigration? Maybe a little bit. He's underwater by 4 points right now. Democrats are underwater by 60 points. 78% of the public, according to the most recent poll, don't like the Democrats' position on immigration. So, yeah, it's having a marginal effect on Trump. It's having a much bigger negative effect on Democrats. And until,
so how would you define the field of battle if you could?
So you have to agree that you're going to break away from the activist groups and go to the common sense center. And the way Trump pivoted last week with the farm workers and the hotel workers is exactly, for example, what the Democrats could do. If I were advising them, they probably wouldn't listen to me because I'm a centrist and they've moved so far left. What I would say to them is employer verification. Outsmart Trump by going to an employer verification system where you require undocumenteds to register in a national database system. E-Verify. But Republicans would be scared of that. That's where Democrats. That's where Democrats could pull a Bill Clinton on the Republicans right now and say yes, and then let these various different industries, hotel workers, farm workers, lobby for exemptions because the American economy needs that. And then you have a system where you have some kind of control and order, but you also have a system where you let people in.
Forgive me for interrupting.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.